Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Four Questions podcast with FMP. My name is Lisa Prather, and I am one of our comms and change management consultants here. And today I am joined by Carolyn Kurowski, who is one of our three owners of FMP. Carolyn, welcome, and thank you for sparing the time for us today.
Hi, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today.
So, today's podcast topic is about finding balance in work. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, while that month really is about solidarity and representation for those who have a mental illness or serious mental illness, I think it's equally about us thinking about what is our part as an organization to be able to support those who are going through issues, whether they're temporary or long term, and really what we're doing to make sure that they have a seat at the table and that we're ready with resources to make sure that they can thrive in a work environment. So we're super excited to have you talking about this topic. But to get started, we're going to ask an icebreaker question, which is, what is something that you do to de-stress and stay balanced during a busy season?
Thanks so much. I think this is a really important and difficult question. So, balance, particularly after COVID, took on a whole new meaning. And before COVID, oftentimes the way that I managed my balance, I have a family, two boys, very involved in sports and after school activities, is I often would break up my day. So I would be going to meetings, going from one client location to another, and taking my boys to their activities after school. And so I would work during the day and then have that break. And then I'd get back on later in the evening to take care of messages or other work that I had. And that would balance worked really well for me. What I found with COVID was I was getting on and then working straight through the day. And so rather than getting back on or working into the evening, what I've done now to introduce balance is that when my day ends at 5, sometime usually, ideally around 5:30, I end my day. I disconnect. I actually have put my computer in the basement, and I go upstairs, and I don't get back on. So I really try to create that separation for myself between work and home life, and then to de-stress. I have been binge watching a lot of really great shows these days, so I'm all caught up on Bridgerton, almost through Peaky Blinders. And when I have another break, I also love the Great British Baking Show.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. You brought up a really good point, which is that balance is something that changes with time. What worked for us a few months ago or a few years ago may not be what works for us in a new life stage, with changing situations, with family situations, and just being able to be flexible and mindful of that balance is so important, and something that I found very valuable at FMP, that we do have a lot of flexibility to make sure that work can coexist with our life situation at the time. So that's something I really appreciate here. So moving in to question two, what is the best thing about being a working parent that you have experienced during the pandemic? And what is one of those hardest things that you've experienced, especially in light of change, as we were just talking about?
Absolutely. So my boys are actually, and during COVID, were teenagers. So we were in middle school and high school. And so for me, and with very busy and active lives, as I mentioned earlier, lots of sports, and they go to school in DC. So there's a bit of a commute there. And so one of the things I most appreciated early on was opportunities, unexpected, to spend time together. So while the shutdown was hard and the working virtually was difficult, we got some really nice family time that I very much enjoyed. We were in a situation where their school went back full time fairly quickly, but I still appreciated that ability to be together and to kind of slow down in ways that we had not done before. So we really tried, when those moments happen, to appreciate and enjoy them. I'd say the hardest thing about this. I think the deeper one is worrying. How is this impacting my child? How are they handling the pandemic? And so being really watchful and mindful of their experiences was important, and making sure they had ways of connecting with people, even if it was virtually, and staying connected with their friends and social group.
Yeah.
So that was hard. But I will also say that having even teenagers in the home, when you are trying to do work and meetings, can make for some really interesting situations. The mute button is essential, and not making the please go away face while on mute are two key skills I definitely developed.
I've noticed that a lot with parents with teenagers, and I'm like, "Oh, how old are your children?" They're like, "They're 19."
But they would like lunch right now.
Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Moving on to question number 3. I think this is really great that we're getting to talk about this topic with, you, because you have a very unique position of being an owner of FMP while simultaneously being shoulders deep in project work, the day to day of what's going on with clients and with other team members. So, what is your approach to balancing ownership of a company and the day to day project work?
Absolutely. But when in thinking through and about this question, one of the things that I really appreciated is, and I believe it's fairly unique, is Erin, Shireen, and I, the three owners of FMP, have a real partnership. Very early on when we started, one of our key kind of mutual agreements, and the way we describe it, is having one another's back.
Mhm.
And so each of us, you can actually imagine, the three of us face in different directions that we're primarily responsible for, and can flex to help and to support one another. And so much of what we hear in terms of providing resources and helping those who are experiencing issues and mental health issues is having that support system in place, and how much of a difference that can make. And so what I found is, knowing that Erin is playing point on the company issues and checking into those, and that she's going to let me and Shireen know when something needs to be taken care of, and that I can count on her for that, and that she can count on us to address client issues that are coming up, and working with staff on making sure that we're meeting expectations and delighting the client, has been really powerful. And so I think it combines nicely with that whole concept of support systems and having effective support, to be able to, when things get challenging or get difficult, know that you can rely on one another, and you have that available to you to help.
Awesome. And now we are getting to our 4th question, which is our last question. What is one thing that the pandemic has helped you learn about the importance of mental health and just the day to day, why that matters as a company?
Absolutely. One of the things that I think that COVID and the pandemic has really brought to the forefront, and I hope continues, is a recognition and a better understanding of the importance of mental health, and also just normalizing the challenges, right, of mental health issues. I think that the stress created by the pandemic, by family illness, by just, you know, kids being home from school, and all of those various things have given um, people generally better insights
Mhm.
into what that means, and more understanding and compassion for people who are dealing with mental health issues, and the importance of providing flexibility, the resources, and the support that those individuals really need to be able to thrive in the workplace, but also in life in general. So my hope coming out of this is that for like normalization and increased understanding
Mhm.
really continues, and people see, in the same way that, if someone gets a cold or gets the flu, gets COVID, we also understand that people experience depression and other mental health issues, and that we address those in the same way, and they don't no longer have this stigma associated with them that they did in the past.
Agreed. Thank you so much for this. We really appreciate you taking the time. This has not only been helpful for me to get to know more about you, but I'm sure it will be for our audiences as well. So thank you so much, Carolyn, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Lisa. This is such a great opportunity. We appreciate you doing it.